HRV, what is it?
Why does it matter? How do you read the data? When it all goes to pot, how do you fix it? This video I'm going to go through all of that. I'm going to talk to you about my experience over the last month and why my HRV has been catastrophically low and the repercussions of that, what it means for your nervous system getting back into training, how you can use that data to better adapt, how to use that data to make your training when you come back work the best for you.
They don't feel like working. Overthinking, I don't mean to let the pain and hurting. I was main stage with Tiny at a festival. Realities are just less than 24 hours past and I'm back to work.
HRV, heart rate variability. Now, most people think that a healthy heart has a consistent beat that's exactly the same every single time. But actually, especially if you're a runner, that's the last thing that you want. HRV measures the specific gap between each heartbeat. For example, if your heartbeat is 60 beats per minute, they're not actually happening at exactly 60 beats per minute. One might be 0.9 seconds apart, and the other might be 1.2 seconds apart.
So it has been a tricky week, and it's my first proper week coming back from being ill. So I am going to be kind to myself. I'm going to caveat this video. I'm coming from this point about HRV data, not from an elite athlete point of view, not from a science degree based point of view. This is from a person who works day to day, loves to train, loves to have goals, loves endurance events, and wants to be the best version of myself within this very real environment that I live in, where I have a wife, I work really hard, I love my job, it's a very creative job in music, and I also love to train really hard and get the benefits from that. So if this is something that you're interested in, I'm really happy to have you along for the journey. And because of all of this as well, please leave comments in the section. Please add your opinions, your advice. If you know better than I do, put it in the comments, and I really want this to be a discussion. I'm not trying to shove information down people's throats, or I'm not trying to suggest that my way is the highway. I'm just trying to present how I go about my obsession of training, my obsession of data, my obsession of nutrition, how to maximize all of these things so that we have a really healthy life that feels fulfilled and feels like we're getting the most out of it. So if you have information about HRV, if you have opinions on HRV, maybe you think it's a load of nonsense and you don't listen to it and you don't look at it. Maybe you swear by it and you follow it by the number and you adjust accordingly there. Whatever your standpoint on it is, I'm going to deliver my experience on it, and I'm hoping that together we can put some really great information out there.
So why do we need it? When you're training for anything, your body is going through stress and then adapting to that stress. Also, HRV isn't a measure of how fit your heart is either. It's a measure of how recovered your nervous system is. For marathon running, you're going on a long run, you stress the body, and then your hope is that your body reacts to that stress, adapts, and builds your strength. But if you keep stacking that stress upon a body that's not ready for that, that's how you start developing stress fractures, injuries that can be easily prevented. So why do we use HRV? It's our early warning sign. It doesn't just look at running, it looks at your entire life. It sees that morning that you woke up at 4 a.m. It sees that really stressful day of work that you've had and that you didn't drink enough water yesterday. And I really believe with any endurance training, and in my case, specifically marathon training, it's not about who trains the hardest no matter what. It's about who recovers the best, who recovers, who adapts. When we're running, the problem that we all face is feeling lazy when we can't do a workout, or if we decide not to go for a run, we feel that laziness. The beauty of falling onto HRV data and taking it seriously, it gives you a very direct, logical reason why you should pull back on that day. We're not relying just on emotion, we're looking at data and logic. So the way that you read your HRV is very specific to each person, so it's important that you gather data over a long period of time to work out where your baseline is, what looks right, what looks wrong. So I track my data with the Garmin, and usually it needs about 2 weeks of data to start understanding what your baseline is. So for example, my baseline is between 100 and 138 milliseconds. I'm currently sat at 95 milliseconds, which means I'm a bit unbalanced, not in a massive way, but it's a knock-on effect of being ill. My HRV went incredibly low at the beginning of this week. So this is just a 7-day average that is sort of grabbing, and the trend that I'm seeing for me is it's sort of slowly going up, which is great because it means I reckon in about a few days time, I'll be back into a balanced state with my HRV and I can start really training hard again.
February really was a toughie. If I want to look at the data to see how my body dealt with the illness, it really does paint a picture that I was really struggling. My body was fighting. My HRV was low. I was in a strained state on Garmin for a lot of it. I was yo-yoing between detraining, being strained, and overreaching. This is all while not doing any training whatsoever. So it was a really tough month to get through mentally while I wasn't training. Felt like I was losing strength and fitness. I think that's going to come back really quickly though.
So let's say you have an HRV baseline of 60. If you wake up and you're at like about 58, that's probably a green light. You can probably go and train. Everything's probably cushy. If you see a drop of maybe 10 to 15%, that's when you should start recognizing the data, start paying attention to it and making sure that that trend doesn't continue to drop. And if it does, that's when you recognize that maybe it's time to pull back, look at the data and adjust your exercise accordingly. If you're 25% below your baseline for more than 2 to 3 days, that really is your body telling you that you need to slow down and stop training. That's your nervous system working overtime and not recovering properly. And it's really important that you recognize that. And if you treat this data properly, it won't take long for your body to catch up and get to a balanced state. So if our HRV is wrecked, how do we fix it? Ignore it and push through? Absolutely not. Here are 3 things that I think really help get your HRV data back on track. Sleep. If your HRV is tanked, your sleep isn't doing its job. It's not recovering during your sleep time. So there are really simple things that you can do if sleep is something that's causing an issue. Try not to have food 3 hours before bed. Try and limit your screen time an hour before bed. And anything like work that engages your mind, I think is a really important thing to try and pause 2 hours before you go to sleep. Number 2 is nutrition. It really is your fuel for the fire. So food wouldn't always be a talking point with HRV. However, I think it is a huge part of recovery. And so when you're recovering from something like a flu, or even just when you're injured, food during that recovery period is one of the most important things you can do. For example, when you have flu like I did, your nervous system is essentially running a marathon. Even when you don't want to eat, it's really important that you do eat. And so when the recovery comes and you're just trying to build up your strength again, it's so important to keep your energy up with the right food. So during a period where you're not training so much, it's still so important to eat the way that you would if you were training. Keep up those carb stores, getting lots of protein for recovery and fiber to kind of help your digestive system. So here I have a really good blend of protein, carbs and fibre. It's 2 pieces of sourdough, and I've covered it with spinach, some red onion, some salad leaves, and just a bit of Cholula for taste. So we're looking at a really good, well-balanced lunch, which is great for a post-workout. And then after this, I'll probably have some kind of protein shake. I have been battling flu, and my HRV has really been showing it. So making sure I'm getting electrolytes, things that are really easy for my body to digest so it doesn't have to work too hard during this period of stress that I've been dealing with while I've been in the flu. Your body is working overtime to deal with the virus. So when that is happening, you really have to be careful and make sure that you get food in your system while making sure that food isn't too hard to break down. Another incredibly important thing to remember with HRV is that after a training session, your HRV is probably going to be low. Don't look at one single instance of your HRV or one day as panic stations. Look at it over a week. One bad day is a fluke, 3 bad days is a bit of a trend, and a week of bad data and a low HRV is probably an injury waiting to happen if you don't recognize the signs. On a very specific note, if you've been sick or you've had the flu or a virus, don't compare that HRV data to your marathon PB HRV data. Your sickness HRV is not your baseline. It's just your body dealing with stresses and working overtime to get yourself back to a point where you can start training properly again. When you start feeling better, you'll find your baseline again. It's important to give your body physically what it needs, but also mentally give yourself a break when things aren't going the way that you want to because of a flu or a virus. This is something I've had to practice as well over the last 4 weeks. It's easier said than done. So this is just another form of discipline. Tap into that discipline that you do when you go for your run in the early morning when no one else is awake. Tap into that discipline that gets you to the gym to do strength training when you just want to be out there running. Rest and recovery is just as important as building strength, and they actually work in unity together, and it's important to get them right.
It is now Thursday, and my HRV is still low, so it hasn't really gotten a lot better, but I have managed to get in a bike session and a run yesterday, which felt really tough. And all of this makes sense because my HRV is still shown as quite low. I just did a strength session at the gym, which felt good, but again, my body's still not recovered completely. I can still feel my nervous system working through whatever it was that I dealt with over the last month. February really was a toughie.
Thank you again for getting this far in the video with me. And if you have any experience with HRV or any opinions, please drop it in the comment section. I'm still learning as well. It would be great to learn from people who have had more experience with it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you next week.